my name is Eris Thainwood, and as you just saw, I do a lot of video game related content where I am actively moving, running, shooting. I'm armed to the teeth with different weapons, and sometimes I can even use magic. I am a 3D VTuber, and I'm a big fan of 3D VTubing, but unfortunately it's oftentimes something that's attributed with low quality, low budget, and is more often than not seen as inferior to the much more popular 2D VTubing scene. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how I personally go about doing all of these different things, in the hopes that somebody takes my methods, improves upon them, refines them, and shares them with the community. Because I truly believe that the additional dimension that we are given is fantastic, and I very much want to see more innovation for 3D VTubers. Also, I don't want to hear any more 3D VTubers envy 2D VTubers because of the fact that they are 2D. I'm going to take as much time as I feel like to kind of explain things because my method. I can do what I want. What you will need is Unity, specifically the 2019 version, 2019.4.31F1. You'll need the most updated version of UniVRM, as well as something called the VSF SDK. We will be using VSeeFace. Technically, it should be possible to do this in other 3D software, but I've only done it with VSeeFace, so that's what I will be teaching today. And you're also going to need some animations. Unfortunately, I can't tell you where to get these animations, but I can show you what to do with them once you have them. So, let's get started. Once you have your Unity project open, you're going to need to import your model. Now, it's very important that you have a .vrm model. .vrm is essentially the Vroid model, but using the UniVRM SDK for Unity, you can convert any humanoid 3D object into a VRM model. I will link a tutorial on how to do that. I will not explain it here. There are other people who have done it much better than I can. You should know, though, that the VRM model is what's commonly attributed to the inferior look. But once you have your VRM imported, you'll actually have a chance to change the shaders, matte caps, materials, normal maps, whatever you want. But you'll need your own custom shader pack in order to do so. Normally, VRM models don't support custom shaders, but because we're exporting this VRM model using the VSF SDK, and VSeeFace does support custom shaders, this won't be a problem. Alright, so once you have your VRM in the project, there will be a folder somewhere that has the name of your model and the textures, materials, and blend shapes. But it's much easier for our purposes if you just scroll down after clicking it on the hierarchy and clicking on the blend shape avatar. This will take you right into the folder and right to the file that we need. Here, as you can see on the right, you can control your blend shapes, the mouth, the eyes, but at the bottom you'll see where it says create blend shape clip. You can click that and type something like walk, and make another one called run. And once you have those, we're pretty much done with this. You'll want to set up all of your standard blend shapes as normal. Click back on the hierarchy, scroll all the way down, add a component. You want to add the VSF animations component. This is why we're using the VSF SDK, or another reason that we are. You'll click add, and you'll see that it's adding blend shapes. It has animation and the option for IK disabled when active. On the drop down, we'll click on walk, and we'll click on run. This is where our animation files are going to come in. Keep in mind that your animations have to be made with humanoid models in mind. Once you have them, they'll look something like this, little green triangle, and when you click on them, a window in the bottom right should appear with this weird Unity looking goober performing the animation. Now, animations aren't all made the same. Sometimes stuff like your model's size and shape will affect how well it works or does not work. So if you're shaped like a trapezium, don't expect things to look right. In order to make sure before you go through the trouble, you can drag your model from the hierarchy over this animation box here, and you'll see it applied. Ignore the broken hair texture there. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. But as you can see, that is that animation. When you click on the other, we have this one. So going back to the model, we're just going to drag walk over the animation clip and run under that one. Now, I don't exactly know the technical term for IK. I don't know what IK stands for, but based off of my experiments, I know what it does. When you have this check marked, it means that your facial tracking and moving are not being applied. So no matter what, you're doing your animation kind of statically. If you disable that, you can move left to right while the animation is playing. So I'll show you. We'll check mark it for walk and we'll uncheck it for run. Once that's done, make sure you have that selected and you'll export from the VSF SDK. Export avatar bundle and make a file. Alright, we're not done once you've got the model exported and opened in VC Base. So here, as you can see, we've loaded our model, hair texture bugs and all. And we have to do a little bit of setup. So what you want to do is you want to click on the settings in the top or upper right, go to your expression settings. What we've done in Unity is we've tied our Unity animations to blend shapes, but they still need to be manually triggered. So once you have that open, we'll scroll down to where we had walk, and you're going to want to just set the hotkey T to your W. Now I will warn you, there are a lot of stipulations that come with this method. First being that you can't have two animations going at the same time. If you do, you end up with a very buggy, horror-esque. It gets real cursed real fast. I'll give you an example right now. You might have seen some of the VTubers that I've helped do something very jank like this in the past. And this is why. It's because you have two animations playing at the same time. This is one of the reasons why we only did a forward motion. We didn't do any backwards or sideways, because typically in a video game, you're doing a lot of moving, and you'll have two buttons pressed down at the same time, which would trigger something like this. And that's not what we want. So, very important that you set your animations to hold. So for run, you hold shift and hit W. And now, for walk, you just want W. And it's important that you set the animations to base as well, because if you have them set to additive, this happens and you have two animations playing at the same time. So you want them both set to base, and then as you can see, the animations are working. Important to note, in your Unity project, you want to click on the animation files, and at the top here it says loop time. You're going to check that and you're going to want to loop pose. This will ensure that the animation loops upon ending seamlessly and doesn't give you a weird stuttery jitter. which still might happen depending on how the animation is created. And that's pretty much all there is to it. As you can imagine, this extends to more than just walking and running. Pretty much any animation that works with a humanoid model should work with the same similar method, as long as you keep in mind that you cannot have two animations playing at the same time. I've never done a tutorial before, so I don't really have a whole lot of confidence in this. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer those questions. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all.